So, hello and peace be upon you. Welcome to another episode of the Happiness Revolution, where I talk about age-old wisdom that will easily transform your life and transform the world, because this age-old spiritual wisdom was always designed for that. It was always supposed to be simple, so anybody could learn from it. You didn't have to have a PhD in psychology or something to be able to follow it. Of course, the more you understand about the world, the more you can appreciate it, but that's another thing. So, I'm talking about all the practical things that will, in these videos, I talk about all the practical things that will change your life. And so, one of the things you really got to know or understand about yourself is what is the purpose of your life. It's not some sort of academic question. It's like if you've got a video camera or a plate or something, if you don't know its purpose, you can't really use it properly or it's to its best advantage. So, for example, if you had a video camera but you didn't know what a video camera did, you didn't know that it can record images and you can stick it up onto YouTube and all this kind of stuff. Instead, you just thought it was a lump of rock, then, well, it wouldn't be much use at all. I mean, it would be almost no use if you threw the lump of rock, well, you thought it was a lump of rock, which is in fact a video camera, into water, because then it'd be destroyed. And so this isn't just some metaphorical thing I'm talking about. Well, it is metaphors, but I'm not just messing around with words here. This is a really important issue, because despite all the material stuff we've got and all the videos we've watched and whatever, beginning to realize that doesn't really make you happy or doesn't fulfill you, and that's because you're not using your body in its best way. And who decides what's the best way to use your body? Well, God does, because God created you. Now, I've talked about proving the existence of God before, but let me explain it very, very quickly. The two key things to say are, first of all, if you want to know God exists, God is alive, you just have to ask God. That's a promise that God makes. Otherwise, you could kind of theoretically explain God exists, but you can never be sure, right? So, God needs to be alive and involved in your life for God to be worth taking seriously. And the other thing is, if you don't, to encourage you to test this theory that you can ask God if he exists and he should respond to you, to encourage you to even do that, you should look at the simple probabilities of God existing. You can see this human being here, me, extremely complicated, lots of complicated parts. The mouth, the eyes are like cameras themselves and all this kind of stuff. But not only that, every single tiny cell is more complicated than any robot you've ever made. So it's extremely complicated. So you look at the probabilities and you go, what's more probable that I was made by a bunch of accidents over maybe millions of years or whatever, or there's a creator that designed us? So if we're honest, we have to say that it's much more likely that we were created. We weren't made by a series of mistakes, let's just say. Okay, so that's God. So I was saying, what is the purpose of our life? In short, it is to become beautiful. It is to, according to the spiritual teachings, which are through all the different religions, it is to become at one with the beautiful attributes of God that you can in this phase of our life. So when I say this phase, is this worldly phase, this physical phase, because what's happening inside of you, something we can't properly detect, is your soul, which is being affected by your physical body. So all the good things you do are affect your physical body, your soul, and all the bad stuff, of course, you do affect your soul. And so basically, in this life and all the different lives or different stages of our life, you know, in the next life, whatever does come, it's an infinite journey to become at one with the beautiful characteristics of God, the colours of God. I say the colours of God because that's kind of the language, the language that's used to describe the purpose of our life in the spiritual scriptures. And as I said, all religions are connected, but that's another talk, I suppose. There's so many things that need to be explained, but I'm trying to keep this short. So I could say anything, you know, the scriptures could say anything, the spiritual text that we rely on to help us in our spiritual path, life, could say anything. So what's special about what it says is that when you reflect on it, you can't think of anything better and anything more fulfilling. So let me explain that. For example, a lot of people have their purpose in life is to be the richest person in the grave. What does that mean? It means to make loads and loads of money, so when you die, you can say, yeah, I made loads and loads of money. But if you reflect on that, that's pretty stupid, because just like Alexander the Great did when he died, having made tons of money, he said, please bury me in a way so my hands are sticking out, to signify that when you die, you're left, you can't take any of it with you in the next life. And he must have done that. He must have felt very strongly to do something like that. You know, when you die, you kind of realise a lot of stuff. You go, what was the point of all that? When you're alive, you can keep doing really stupid things because you convince yourself you're going to live forever. It sounds really stupid, right? Who actually thinks they're going to live forever? But somehow we convince ourselves of that, and then because of that, because of that delusion we create for ourselves, we allow ourselves to be stupid and do stupid stuff, like just spend our whole lives just trying to make money, not really reflecting on what's the point of our lives. So what have I said so far? I've said that the purpose of life is defined by God, and God tells us that the purpose is to become beautiful. What a nice thing to do with our lives. There's nothing to really complain about there. It makes more sense than just making lots of money. Yeah, okay, and then also the last point I want to make is that it should fulfill our highest potential. Okay, so if there's a God, which I kind of explained there should be, there is, then that God wouldn't make you an amazing thing and then make you but then set your purpose to be something really useless, like, I don't know, cleaning the floor is the purpose of your life or something, you know? I'm sure you could do a lot more than that. Maybe, I don't know, spend spaceships to the moon and Mars and stuff like that. That's a higher potential. But is that your greatest potential? Is that something that, you know, yeah, say you sent a rocket to Mars, whatever, but then once you're dead, or on your deathbed, as it were, about to die, and you go, oh, what did I do with my life? I sent a rocket to space, what am I going to do with that? You see, your good deeds are permanently they're imprinted on your soul, which is released into the next life when you die. How do we know that the next life? That's another discussion. But if you look at the stages of life before you, which is when you were a sperm cell, I think it's called, a sperm, and to what you had to do to become a human being was to connect with an egg. And to do that, the sperm had to destroy itself to connect with the egg. It sounds very strange, research it. So just stage had to die to get to the next stage. It's the same with this stage we're in. This physical thing has to die to release the latent soul within us that is affected by our physical actions. And I hope that explains a few things. As always, please ask me questions. I suppose there's one more thing that kind of comes to my mind, is that this is called the Happiness Revolution. What has your purpose got to do with your happiness? I kind of explained that in the beginning, didn't I? I said that people don't seem to be being fulfilled and feeling really happy just chasing money. Well, it's more than that. What this spiritual direction, this purpose does for you will guide you to every kind of happiness. When you make your life so that you are trying to attain the beautiful qualities of God, and what are they? Very quickly, the main ones, okay, are to be gracious and kind. So when somebody asks you to do things, you try to give as much as you can of yourself, and even without people asking you, you do things like help people, and there are many attributes of God, not all of them which you can copy in this physical life, but there will be more in later stages. But the point is, what I was trying to say is basically, we kind of are beginning to realize, if you look at all these posters of all these different travel destinations, people are looking for something spiritual, okay? And this is the spiritual direction, to become beautiful, yeah? If you watch a film, you look at the character of the person, the hero, or the heroine, they're not just trying to be action figures, but they're trying to be good action figures. We love to see great or beautiful qualities in selfless qualities in people, and that's a clue as to where we truly what truly would make us happy. And this purpose to become at one with the beautiful qualities of God, the kind of latent qualities that you see in nature that somehow attracts us to it, that's what we really want in our lives. As I was about to say before, please ask questions. Maybe something really confusing in these videos that you don't understand or you disagree with, ask, because the answers are very simple. And as you might be able to see when you watch my videos, there aren't that many people watching at the moment, and there aren't that many people asking questions. So there's pretty good chance, that I will answer your questions, because not that many people are asking questions at the moment. So thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Off button.